Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? My name is Rob Carmona, and welcome back to Rob the Mic for episode 13. So, for this week's episode, I was trying to think what exactly I was going to talk about. And basically, what helped me come up with this, this like general idea that we're going to be going over is it was something that I was practicing, and I was practicing it without realizing it. And I think that was the coolest thing. And it kind of hit me yesterday and a little bit over the weekend too, because I had some situations that I kind of had to throw myself into it. Even though I didn't want to do it or I didn't feel comfortable, it really helped me out. So I guess the overarching thing that we're going to be covering today is the just do it mentality and how important it is to have that when you're dealing with depressive episodes, because it can really push you and pull you in these directions that you actually need to be pulled in or that you need to be pushed into. And another one that I got was something that I heard this morning. And as you guys know, I try to plan these out as best as I can, but sometimes the idea will come to me the day before. Sometimes it comes to me right after I do the podcast from the week before. It changes every single time. But when I heard this, it struck me a certain way, and I feel like it fits perfect with what we're talking about. And it was not necessarily a quote, but there was a conversation being had, and the person that was being interviewed was Rainn Wilson. And for those of you guys who don't know who Rainn Wilson is, he is Dwight Schrutte on The Office. And the way he breaks this down, I don't want to give it away just yet, but the way he gets into this, it's a very, very short clip. It shook me. It shook me because it's something that I talk about quite often, and I was talking about it last night with some friends. So I feel like it fits with where we're gonna go today. So let's jump into it. Let's see what happens. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and let's make it happen. So as far as the just do it mentality, what I mean by that is just doing it. So we've all had these moments where you're scared, you're nervous, and you have to sit there and you're kind of going through it in your head, right? Let's say you're in your car, you're about to go into a meeting or you have an interview. You're terrified. You're super nervous. You haven't done it in a while. So you're just chilling there. You're in your head. You're running through scenarios and you're making it worse for yourself, right? Because you're going down this rabbit hole. And for a lot of us, like I know I've talked about like thought manipulation and thought control and stuff like that in the past, but for example, for myself, this is something that I'm just starting to learn how to do and I'm just coming into. So if you're in that situation, let's say you're going through it, you're running it, and then you just have to sit there and stop yourself. You pull your keys out of the ignition and you're like, let's just run it. Let's go. I'm fucking here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to run it. I'm going to make it happen. You get out of the car, you go do the interview, you fucking smash it, you come back, you sit in the exact same spot, right? And you're like, I did it. I did it. Nobody did it for me. I did it. Even if you were terrified, you still made it happen. And especially for people dealing with depression and or who have depressive episodes, or honestly, if you're just feeling a little bit off, right? Like we all have those days you feel kind of off. Things are kind of funky. You don't really fuck with people. You don't really want to do anything. This is a perfect time to start to, I guess you could say, like adopt that sort of mentality, or at least keep it in your toolbox because you never know when you're going to need it. So for myself, as of recent, as you guys know, things have been really, really rough between my family, my personal life, and also my professional life too. And I'm trying to line these things up where I can start to get a hold of it. And slowly, like very, very slowly, I'm starting to grab the reins on these things. And I don't have control of them yet, but I do feel like at least I have the reins in my hands, and I'm trying to learn like which way to pull this, which way to apply more pressure, and how to grab everything so that eventually I can kind of sit on the same path, because I still feel like my horses are running in different directions, and it's causing my cart to kind of go all crazy. But one thing that I realized that's helping me, I guess you could say, pull the reins on different things and different subjects within my life is having this sort of just do it mentality. Because down to the simplest of things, which Again, I know some of you who are dealing and or have battled with depression in the past, you'll understand what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, this might be a little bit new and give you a little bit of an insight on how severe it can be, because this applies down to the simplest thing. And when I'm talking about the simplest things, it's probably things that you don't even think about. Like, for example, brushing your teeth. I'm not saying everyone does this. This is just an example. It's something that I've literally dealt with, where I'm so down and out. Let's say I've been in bed all day. I've been watching Netflix or whatever. It's getting super late. I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep, but I just want to shut down. I don't want to do my nightly routine. I don't want to do any of it. I just want to close my eyes and call it a day, but I can't. And there's moments that it takes me a long time to do it. And when I mean a long time, dude, I could be sitting there having to force myself, convince myself, like, get the fuck up and go brush your goddamn teeth, because I don't want to do it. Or again, let's say I'm the same situation, but slightly different. So let's say I'm in bed, right? I'm finishing up for the night, chilling out, just watch TV, turn TV off. And I'm just tired. And you kind of like lay there and I'm chilling. I'm thinking, just running through scenarios, doing whatever it is I'm doing. Let's say the light's on the same way it is right now. And the thought of getting up to turn the light off is just, it's a daunting task, because I don't want to do anything. I don't want to move. I don't want to interact. I don't want to anything. So I'll sit there and I'm like, fuck, dude, it's so bright. Do I turn it off? Like, nah, fuck it, whatever. And I'll just throw a blanket over my face or put a pillow over my face. I'm like, I'm done, I'm going to sleep, whatever, fuck it. But it's so simple. And I know for some of you guys who are listening, you're probably like, what the fuck, dude? Like, just get up and turn the light off, or dude, just get up and go brush your teeth. But there's a difference for someone who is depressed and dealing with depressive episodes, because again, those simple tasks can be insanely daunting. And I'll bring in another example too, for some of you who've seen this. If anyone out there has seen the show Euphoria, one, it's a really wild show. If you haven't seen it and you're sensitive to like very hectic life situations, I wouldn't recommend watching it, because I think I don't know if it gets blown out of proportion, but I do think a lot of things are spot on to a certain degree. Like, I think there's a lot of drug use in it. There's a lot of sex, a lot of just crazy family drama. And again, if that's not your kind of show, don't watch it. Like, I highly don't recommend. But if you don't have, like, if you're cool with all of that, check it out. But there's an episode where Rue, who is one of the main characters, played by Zendaya, she falls into this really nasty hole, and she's super depressed, to the point where she won't leave the spot that she's in on her bed. All she does is like toss and turn. And I forgot what show she's watching. I think in the show, they're having her watch like Love Island or something, and she binges it. She watches it straight. And I don't remember if she doesn't sleep. I want to say she didn't sleep in this like span that she's having. But one of the things that she deals with, and it's crazy because they show the process and what's happening to the body during it. So it's really nuts, but it's her getting up and going to use the restroom. And I noticed how bad it was, because as I'm watching it, I'm like, dude, and this is a show, right? Like, this isn't real life, but we all do it. Same thing like when we're watching anything on TV, you're like, don't do it. Don't open the door. And then the person opens the door and you freak out because you already knew what was going to happen, right? And it was the same type of thing, because I'm like, dude, get the fuck up. Go use the restroom. Here I am talking to the TV. But as the days are going on, and I say days because it's moving from hours to days, and it's showing what's happening to her bladder and what's happening to her insides and all this craziness, because she knows she's literally in excruciating pain. Like, they make it look insanely painful. And to a certain point, it is. And those of you who, let's say you've had to go pee and you've held it for a certain amount of time, you feel like you're going to die. Like, this is it. This is the end. Not even that you're going to like just go pee immediately. You're going to straight up just die, deceased. That's it. Rest in pieces. I'm texting everybody. I'm gone. That's it. I didn't make it. And she hits a certain point where she gets up And then it's a really, really wild part. The mom gets involved and she ends up getting really sick and ending up in the hospital, and it's crazy. But it's something so small that way. Using the restroom is what drove her to end up in the situation that she was in. And she could have easily just been like, I'm going to go use the restroom, and not had a problem. Could have avoided all of this pain, all of this anguish, being in the hospital, going through literally any of this chaotic, like whatever you want to call it, being in this chaotic situation. And I'm not saying that this is where the just do it mentality comes in, but it's also where the just do it mentality comes in, because as hard as it is to pull yourself up and out of these situations, you also have to, because no one's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Because the thing is, when you're in a state of depression, you don't really care about anything. You don't fuck with anything. You don't want to hear anyone. You don't like nothing. Your phone's there, but you won't use it. Your friends are blowing you up. Doesn't matter. You're getting DMs on Instagram. Your shit's going off. You look over, see your phone, and you're just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Because you're in such a dark place. But if you don't have the tools to get yourself up and out of these situations, what are you going to do? So you have to adopt a new mentality. You have to start learning how to shift these things in your life. Because again, if you don't shift it, no one's going to shift it for you. And I started noticing for myself, especially as of recent, I started to fall more into these holes a lot more often than normal. Because for myself, I've been dealing with depression for a very, very long time. Very, very long time. Probably since I was about 12, like 11 or 12. And I had my moments when I was like younger than that. But I don't think it was as bad where it became super apparent, especially to like my mom and other family members. But as I got older, it was something I dealt with a lot. And then once I crossed that like 17, 18, things started to get a lot harder. I started acting out, not really giving a fuck about certain things. And then coming into my adulthood, as I've been dealing with everything, the episodes are just hitting a lot harder because adulthood sets in, right? And you would think, oh shit, dude, I mean, you've been dealing with this for years. Like, how do you not have a grip on it? It's not that simple. But as I've been going through these episodes, I put myself into this mindset and I start to think. And as I start to rabbit hole, I have to pull back. I have to really pull back, assess the situation, and just say, okay, well, just fucking do it. Just do it. Run it. Whatever. Don't think about it. Don't think about anything. Just make it happen. And I noticed, for example, on Friday, a friend of mine was having a pop-up shop in Long Beach. It's my friend Natalie, Nat Snack, who I've had on the show. She baked some cakes. Killed it. Absolutely killed it. That cake was so freaking good. Little sidebar on that cake. It was a key lime cake with like a mango puree and a tajin crunch throughout the cake. So there was like 2 layers of that. And then it was like on top of the cake. It was wonderful. So great. And I've also never had a cake like that had not like a savory element, but also kind of a savory element. And it was really fucking great. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me regarding that. I will send you her information. She makes custom cakes. She has like cakes that she'll make for the month. Any and all the things. Literally just hit me up. I'll send you her information and you guys can get in contact. You can buy and try all the things. But for that situation, I knew I had to go. But I didn't want to leave the house because that Friday morning was kind of rough. And it kind of put me in a funk. And I was like trying to be okay. I was trying to get out of it and I couldn't, no matter what the fuck I did. And then I hit a certain point where I was like, fucking stop. Fucking stop, dude. I was like sitting on the edge of my bed. I'm like, this is bigger than you. What you're feeling right now is bigger than you. This has nothing to do with you. This is about you supporting your sister and fucking showing up when you need to show up. Because even when you don't, you gotta fucking do it sometimes. And this was that situation. I didn't want to do it. And it was nothing against her. This was me. This is shit I was battling with. So I turned around, I got my ass up, and I was like, okay, let's go shower. Went, showered. I was like, all right, cool. So in the shower, I was doing my breathing, getting myself together, feeling all right. And as I started to clear myself, like physically, mentally, I was like, all right, you know what? Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's just fucking do it. And originally I was going to go by myself. And then I saw my mom just chilling and I was like, hey, and she knows Natalie too. She's on her, I mean, since we started to be friends in high school, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. And she was kind of going through it too. So I'm like, hey, fuck that. I'm like, get ready. Roll with me. Let's go. We're going to go to Long Beach. We're going to go to Natalie's pop-up and let's see what's going on. Because it was also like what they have in Long Beach is they have one thing that's called like First Fridays. But this was, they do it on the fourth Friday of every month. So the reason why I say First Friday is because for those of you guys who are familiar with that area, there are certain areas of Long Beach that will shut down on the first Friday of the month. And they do like a block party type of thing, but it's based around art and music and stuff like that. And this portion of Long Beach was also doing the same thing. So, but they do it on the fourth Friday. So I'm like, let's just go. Let's check it out. Let's see what's up. And also, let's get out of the fucking house. You know, sometimes you need to just get that fresh air, dude. You need it. It's good. It's good to be out. Go take a walk. Go somewhere. Go grab a coffee. Go get some tea. Go get some ice cream. Like, go walk around at a park. Like, you need it. It's so fucking good for you. And the thing is, once I get out, I'm like, ugh, this is what I needed. This is what the fuck I needed to do. So as we're driving over there, playing the jams, talking, laughing, I'm like, yeah, this already feels good. We get there. Dude, the parking was crazy. It was a mess. It's probably driving around for like 45-ish minutes trying to find parking. It wasn't happening. But I got to pull up and see her for a couple minutes. Like super, super quick. Like I literally pulled up, hazard lights. Yo, dude, what the fuck's good? I'm here. I just want you to know. Mom was stoked. We ended up getting some cakes, right? Super great. And then on top of that, which was really funny, is I had told Jay and Sabrina, which I've talked about them on the show before, very, very close friends of mine. All of a sudden, they pulled up behind us because I had told them, hey, I'm going to be in Long Beach because Jay's little sister was going to go to her man's prom in Long Beach. So I'm like, hey, if you guys are going to be in the area, which I know you guys will, stop by this thing because I'm going to be here for a while. And my original intention, right, was just to kick it there for the night because these block party things are really cool. There's music, there's food. It's a great time. And it was so funny that it happened that way, that when I pulled up, parked, and then they just so happened to be behind me. So when I'm leaving, I'm like, yo, what are you guys going to do right now? And I do, we're hungry. We're going to go eat. And my mom and I had just eaten. So I'm like, okay, well, look, I'm going to head home because I have the cakes with me. I was like, I got to drop these off. So we dropped the cakes off, you know, mom's chilling. She's happy. She's going to have a cake. And I freshen up. I'm like, yo, okay, what's the deal? They're like, yo, we're going to go to Calaveras in Long Beach, which is like this. It's a bar, essentially. It's a bar restaurant. And I was kind of out of it. And I was like, I'm just going to chill. But it was, I think it was like around 9, maybe a little bit later than 9, like 9:30-ish. And I kind of just wanted to hang out. But then this mentality comes in. I'm like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do on a Friday night? You're just going to sit here and be fucking sad and watch TV? Like, no, dude. I didn't have like anything to do. I didn't have anything to work on. I mean, granted, yeah, I always have stuff to work on. I could edit some video, do some things, but I was like, this isn't where I want to be right now. I need to be out of the house. I need more of what I just got a taste of. So they're like, hey, meet us at Calaveras. Let's go have a drink and chill out for a little bit. Get down there, find parking, run my ass over to the bar. I'm like, what's up? What's popping? Chilling. So we're sitting there laughing, talking about everything, things that how the day was going, especially for them because it was all over the place and they're trying to prep up to make sure that the sister was going to be good for prom. So we're sitting there having a cocktail, just chilling. And it felt so good. It felt so fucking good to do it. And when I got back to the car, because they dropped me off in my car because I ended up parking pretty far away. And once I got in there, I just kind of sat there for a second and I was like, man, like I'm so glad I did that. It was like super cheesy out of a movie type shit because I literally sat there and I said it out loud. I was like, I'm so glad that I did that because if I didn't do it, I would have just been here at home. I would have been in my head. I would have been in a really dark place, and it would have gotten worse, because that's what happens. It's what happens on a daily basis. It's not about filling your time, but to a certain extent, it kind of is like filling your time, because you got to keep busy in a positive way. I feel like if I'm working towards something, if I have like some work that I'm doing, if I keep my mind going or watch things that are inspirational, watch things that can give me something, I can take something away, I feel fulfilled, versus just sitting there watching TV and doing shit. And there's some days where you need that. You need to not do a damn thing and just chill the fuck out, which is fine. I'm all here for it and I support it. But this wasn't that kind of situation. This was very, very different, especially because of how I was feeling that night. I'm like, I can't be here. I need to be out. I need to be with positive people, loving people, and around a good vibe. I need a good aura around me right now, because it's not good on the inside. I need something to combat that, something to shine over that. And it did. It totally did. So I got home, showered, chill out, hopped into bed. And I felt complete. Like, I was like, cool, man. Like, this was a beautiful Friday. Like, as difficult as it was, I think that's what made it more beautiful, because the start of it was so rough. And because I started to adopt this just do it mentality. And this is also what I call it. I don't know if this is like a fucking thing, but for me, I call it like a just do it mentality. But when I started to adopt it more throughout the day, I started realizing how it was helping me to get through the day, and not even just get through it, but to overcome it. Because every day, for myself, and for honestly, for a lot of you guys listening, who knows, maybe everybody listening, every day's a new challenge. Every day's a new battle. You're dealing with it. You wake up and you're like, fuck, here we go again. But once you start to have this shift and you're like, whatever, regardless, I'm going to fucking do it, things start to change. They start to not hit you so hard. And even if they do, it's almost like just like a little nudge, you're just kind of like, shit. And then you keep it moving. It's all right. Cause it's like, regardless of me getting nudged over, I still got to go forward. So switching up your mentality slowly really helps to develop your days, helps to develop your weeks, your months, your life. And it's the biggest and best thing that I've probably adopted as of recent more. And I hope that with you guys listening to this, that you can kind of take something from it too, because I kid you not, to smallest detail, like I said, brushing your teeth, taking the trash out, whatever, you start to do something like this, it'll start to roll into other parts of your life, and you'll start to realize that things get easier over time. And even the most difficult, the hardest shit, you're going to face it. And then what's going to happen? Time's going to pass, and eventually you're going to sit there and be able to look back and be like, I did this at this time. I did this at this time. I made this happen for myself. I pulled myself up out of the mud, and I'm here. And there's nothing else that's going to change that. So again, as much as we want and we need these people around us, positive people, empowering people, you have to also empower yourself and be there for yourself. So shifting up your mentality, accepting new things, being open to new things, it can take you to places you never thought you'd go. So with the experiences that I've had in the last week, adopting this sort of mentality is the biggest, best thing I could have done. Because I had more episodes on Saturday. I had one yesterday where I had to make something happen, and I was terrified. I was scared. It shook me up. I didn't want to do it. I had to do it. And then I just sat in my truck, took keys out of the ignition. I was like, fucking run it, dude. Let's go. Made it happen. And after, I was like, dude, yes. Like, this is the shit that I'm talking about. And I felt so empowered. Like yesterday, I felt very empowered. And it's probably the most empowering day that I've had since the last podcast. And it's cool that we do, now that I'm doing them weekly, because it's basically like I check in with you guys weekly. So it's like, since last week, this has probably been, or yesterday was probably one of the most empowering days. And I want to have more of those. And I want to talk about them more with you guys, with the people around me, my friends, my family, because it's important. And I know it makes them feel good too. And you would think that, like, obviously, right? But it's true though. It's so true, because the people around you who love you, who care for you, they want to make sure you're all right in every capacity, from the smallest detail to the largest. So when you have those days and you feel good and you have that energy about you, whether it's shooting a text or a phone call or however, and they run into you somehow, they can sense that. They can feel it. And with the friends that I was kicking it with last night, because another thing that I did last night was I went to 240 Tuesday, which for those of you guys who are local to LA, I'm not going to say it's an all S chassis meet, but it started as an S chassis meet. It's hosted by a buddy of mine, Sid. I'll post the tag so you guys can check it out. But he does it first Tuesday of every month. And I felt so good. And when I saw the homies that I ended up seeing, I was like, oh man, like it was so good to see Sid and like all the other homies. And it was also really great too, because I got to hang out with my buddy Fredo and his girl Arlie, and just them two as a couple. Individually, they're fucking phenomenal people, but together they bring this really fun, welcoming energy. And it's been a long time since I've really spent time with them. We've gone to events together and we've hung out at car stuff, but it's been a really like a long time since we've been able to sit, the three of us, and just have conversation and laugh and talk about all the things. And even that conversation with them was really, really great. And I was super thankful to be in the headspace that I was in, because I'm not always there, right? I was thankful to be in that headspace, and I was thankful to have them be a part of my day. And the fact that I got to spend time with people that I love and that I care about, because it just adds to that. It adds and it reinforces this sort of mentality, because when I started with it throughout my day yesterday, and I kind of pushed myself out of my comfort zone little by little by little, it put me in a different spot. So by the time I saw them, I was feeling good. I felt really positive. And all the stuff we were talking about, granted, some of it was kind of serious, but we were still able to navigate the conversation in like a very healthy, very positive way. And as you guys know, for some subjects, it's really tough to do that. You can't always like turn it to find a light, and it can make things kind of weird, because all of a sudden you just brought like this dark cloud over the conversation. And sometimes those conversations need to happen, because it's life. It's not all rainbows and fairies and fucking pixie dust, but we can also navigate these really difficult or hard subjects a certain way to make them finish out with a light, in a sense, and not just kind of leave it like a drop off or a cliff, you know? So adopting this has really helped me. And I know I've said it a billion times in this process, but it really has. And I hope that as you guys listen to this, that hopefully it brings you something too. And maybe it's something you never really thought about. So with this being said, I hope that you can take from that, because it's helped me a lot. I know it will continue to help me in the future. And I can't wait to see how far I can take it, and where the just do it mentality will take me. Because I don't know. It's helped me in the past week, professionally, personally. So it's, what more do you need? Like, just fucking run it, dude. Just run it. If you're scared, run it. If you're excited about it, run it. And what I mean by run it is like literally this, just do it. Take the step forward, because that's the unknown is where you find everything. Getting out of your comfort zone is where you find everything. Pushing yourself little by little into these spaces that you are uncomfortable with is where you're going to find all your answers that you need. Every single thing, personally, professionally, all of it. Putting yourself in these situations is going to take you somewhere wild. And that I have a lot of experience with. Just that one specific thing, like putting myself in certain situations, has got me to really crazy places in both personal and professional. And when I mean crazy places, I mean in a positive way. I'm not saying like, oh, dude, like this is crazy in a bad way. Like, no, that's not what I mean. It's really shifted it up. Everything. It's put me in positions for careers, jobs that I never expected I'd ever get in my life. It's put me in positions where I've met people and I'm like, yo, this person's like super important. And now they're like a staple in my life. They're right here next to me all the time. So check it out. You start to feel a certain way, listen to this podcast. run this first part back, because that's what it's here for. I'm trying to do this to communicate with you guys, right? Because it helps me. This entire project helps me out. But at the same time, I know it helps you guys out too. Every single person that's listening, everyone who supports, like I know you guys pull bits and pieces from these podcasts because they can be really helpful. And also they can leave you like in a really pensive state sometimes. And that's my fault. Sometimes I'd be asking some questions or I pose a certain question a certain way that kind of leaves you like, what just happened? But that's the whole point of this thing. You know, I want you guys to think. I want you guys to question what's going on. Because that's, once you find that answer, oh man, it's sick. It's so rad. Yeah, it's really fucking rad. Gotta take a sip of my water. Ooh, all things. And the next, it's a perfect segue because it goes into the Rainn Wilson clip that I saw. And the Rainn Wilson clip was essentially about, I'm trying to think of how to like paraphrase it in a way, because it's sort of like shifting your mental state, which is, I would say somewhat of, or not even somewhat, that's kind of the theme of today's episode, right? Like shifting your mental state, where it's at, how you get there, and why you want to get to this place. So it starts off with basically him saying that he had a conversation with someone and that they grabbed him, and he was saying that the person told Rainn to not give into cynicism, and to not be pessimistic, because that's how they win. That's how they want you to be. Because then you feel that you're not able to do anything to change the world, whether it's the bigger picture or the smaller picture. And when I heard that, I was like, what? That's incredible. Because you can't be that way. Like, there's times that you can be that way, especially, I mean, with the humor that we have, a lot of it can be dark. Like for myself, a lot of my humor is very dark, but I don't adopt it in a way where it takes over my life. Like I still look at things, and I try to look at things from a very positive mindset. As much as I have like so much negative, I like to see things from the positive, because it's what I need. It's what we all need, right? So there was that part. And then he was talking in the second part of this clip, he talks about how it's so important to foster joy and hope in everything that we do. Because if we don't have it, what are we going to do? What the fuck are we going to do? Like, we can't do shit. And then on top of that, where it keeps going is like, how do we get that into the younger generation, and how important that is that we do that we foster it, and we create this sort of space that gives them something to push off of. So as far as shifting your mindset and kind of putting yourself in a place where you can start to see things in a positive way is really, really hard, especially when you have a lot on your plate or shit's being thrown at you a certain way. And when he talks about you giving into the whole cynicism and being pessimistic, and it's how they win, what he's talking about, I feel like to a certain extent is the world, is life. And not that life is a negative thing, but a lot of the times we can kind of feel like it is. It's very heavy. It's very dark. And it's like, that's how that shit wins. Because you give in, you let it kind of envelop you, and you're like, you just sit there and you're like, fuck, I'm done. What do I do? Everything's fucked up. I'm not going to come out of it. And again, I'm not saying to go happy-go-lucky on this shit, but like with what I've been experiencing in the past week, shifting my mindset to the whole just do it thing really helps me to feel positive about it, because I'm moving in a forward motion. Whether it's very, very small increments, it doesn't matter. I'm moving in a forward motion. I'm not accepting this sort of mentality. I'm not being down on myself. I'm not talking down to myself, making me feel worse. I'm not looking at certain materials or looking at certain things or certain people because I know it's going to hurt me. Why the fuck am I going to do this? Because it's going to continue and it's going to prolong this feeling. Why do I want to prolong this feeling? I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to feel like this for the rest of my life. I don't want to feel like it. And even in a small sense, for the rest of my day. If I start out my day this way, I don't want it to end the same way. I want it to be like how it was on Friday, where it starts off rough. And I mean, I don't want it to be that way, but if I'm in the situation, this is what I want. I want it to start out that way, rough, but then end on a beautiful note, and positive, and feeling good, and feeling fulfilled. But I'm the one who did that. And it's the same thing for all of us too. We all have to do it to a certain extent. We got to step up to the plate because no one's going to do it. The same thing, like I've been saying this entire time, no one's going to do it for you. You have to shift your own mentality. And there's different things that can spark that and push that and drive that. But when you find those things and work to find those things and you do that self-work, you realize that you have a lot more power than you think. So when I saw this little clip, this reel, because it was a reel on Instagram, I just sat there with it and I was like, dude, I got to talk about this because it made me feel a certain way. And it's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. I'm not trying to change the fucking world because I can't. But my world is shifting because of this project. And I know it is, like, because I see it, I experience it, whether it's getting a DM from one person, whether it's a conversation that I have with somebody that I meet who've listened to this podcast. And I'm like, shit, it's already affected one person. That's all this has to do. It's the same way with like what you hear in schools, right? Like with teachers, you can get one student, you did your job. And that's how I feel with this. That I'm able to connect with one more person. This is able to make them think and feel a certain way. And then maybe not even that, but maybe it helps them to connect to one person because of what's being said here. And not like this is some fucking crazy, oh my God, this is life changing, whatever. Like Rob's talking about all this shit. He knows what's going on. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So I have no idea what's going on. I'm sitting here in front of a camera, just talking about shit that affects me. That's important to me, that moves my heart and my mind, my soul a certain way. And if sharing it with you guys again gives you something, then sick. Because it's a bonus for me. This is like another therapy session. I get to sit down, talk with you guys, and be super candid. And because I don't have anything to hide. What the fuck am I going to hide? And at the same time, me trying to be vulnerable, you'll see it. When someone gets there with like someone being vulnerable, right? It's like being on a date. And let's say you're with somebody, you're getting to know somebody, you see the wall start to drop. All of a sudden something gets said, the wall comes back up. It kind of frees up. Or maybe it's with you and you're like, damn, dude, this ain't it. And I'm trying to be vulnerable and honest because I want you guys to understand where I'm at and where I'm coming from. Especially because of all the things that we talk about, especially regarding mental health. Because that's huge. It's been a massive thing the past couple of weeks. Why? Because it's very important to me right now. Maybe in a week it'll be something else. Maybe in a month it'll be something else. I don't know. But this is a safe space. And I feel that it is a safe space. And I want to keep it that way. Same thing for myself with the people who come onto the show. I want them to feel like they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. But that at the end of the day, whatever is being said, at some point, somebody will take that information and it's going to help them in some way. So it's, when I hear shit like this, I'm like, damn, dude, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. This is what I'm trying to do, is not give in to let them win. I don't want to be sad all the time. I don't want to be negative all the time. I want to be in a better spot. And then again, with the second part of that clip, the fostering joy and hope into everything that we do, that I could honestly say that's probably one of the most imperative things, because you have to bring it into your home, because you yourself, like, you're your home, right? You essentially are your temple. You are your safe place. If you fill it with these types of things, this joy, this hope, this positivity, even in small increments, eventually it's going to build up. It's like building a house full of bricks, right? or not even full, but made of brick. You start somewhere. Everything's open. Everything's open. You don't even know where to start. But you lay your brick down. Start laying more bricks. Next thing you know, you start fashioning this house, and it's beautiful. And then you put that final brick up, and it's not about building walls. This is different. This is about creating a structure for yourself, a structure that you can lean back, a structure that you can sit against, that you can be inside of, that you can be outside of and look at and feel like this is a safe thing that you've created. So it's created off of this sort of positivity, off of these beautiful things. So when you foster it that way, you can also teach other people how to do that. And it's very, very important to do so. And like how he's talking about, right? How do we do that for the younger generation? It's creating that safe space allows people in, because there's always going to be those people, let's say, who come to the door and you don't answer. Totally cool. I mean, I do it all the time. But there's also certain moments with certain people that I'm like, I got to open the door. I have to open the door. I got to let this person in. Why? Because there's something about them. My energy aligns with them. My persona aligns with them. And what more could I ask for? What more could I ask for? And like a good example of that is like I just had a meeting Monday night with my buddy Zoe and a new client of mine who has a plant business. And I had never met her before. I just heard of her. Her business is called Plantitas Verdes. Super sick. I'm going to be working on a branding profile for her. So really excited to get that project going and work with her. Val's like really fucking cool. She's really, really fucking cool. And from the moment I met her, I'm like, this is going to be an amazing meeting. She had this energy about her. She seemed like such a good person. And she is a good person. She's a great person. Just from this conversation, I know that. From this, let's say, hour or two that we spent together, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this person's fucking phenomenal. This is going to be great. But whenever I meet new clients and like just new people in general, right, I keep the door closed. I let them talk. I let them navigate it and just kind of see what's up. Once I get a feel for things like that, I slowly start to open the door. And then it hit a point where I was like, blow the door off. Blow the fucking door off. We're here. Come inside. Come chill. We're good. The house is open. You ain't got to worry about nothing. Then the conversation got so active. We started talking about so much regarding design, about art, about ourselves, about mental health. It went to this really crazy place. And when it got to a certain point where we finished the meeting, the three of us felt so positive and felt so good that we left like feeling full, feeling fulfilled. And when I got home, dude, I felt so good. And I'm like, yeah, this is what's up. This is what we got to teach people. This is what we got to teach people. Foster that love, foster that care. Because if we can teach this to one person, someone that's around us, within our family, within our friends, that one person is going to spread that even without them knowing, because you're giving them the tools, and subconsciously they're fixing this shit that they're needing to fix. They're saying, you know what? I'm not going to look at that shit like that anymore. I'm going to look at it like this because this fool said this and I need to shift up. I got to be happy too, because look at what it's done for them. Because the people around you, they know. They look at this shit. They look at you. They see what makes you happy. They see when your mind starts to shift. And you're also going to talk about it. Naturally, you're going to say, hey, you know what? I've been feeling good because of X, Y, Z. Whether it's, I've been going to the gym more. You know what? I've been eating healthier. I've been going out more. I've been meeting people. I've been talking to people, getting out of my comfort zone. They take those things and without even knowing, they start to apply it to their lives. It's this subconscious thing because it's positive, it's attractive. People are attracted to that. It's like when you have that good energy and you kind of go about your day, pay attention, look at the people around you. People are going to be looking at you. They're going to sense it. They're going to feel it. You feeling good? You go to the mall? I kid you not. Look around at people. You're going to start catching people. More and more people stare at you when you feel a certain way because you radiate this energy. You radiate this positivity, this sort of aura. There's something about you that people don't know what it is, but they want to know. They want to know. And maybe you'll have a person ask you, or maybe they'll tell you something nice. Let's say, you finish up, you go shopping, you're at a store, you're checking out, have your purchase, whatever. And they're like, hey, you know what? I don't know. There's something about you. Like, I hope you have a great day because you got something about you. I've had situations like that where I've been in stores, I've been in the market, and let's say the cashier is like, hey, thank you for just interacting with me and like being like this. Like, I appreciate the energy. Like, I appreciate the love, all this type of thing. And it's cool to have exchanges like that. But we have to harbor that. We have to give that thing, we have to give it a place to live. Because if we don't give it a place to live, what's going to happen? Where are we going to end up? Where are we going to go? We're not going to be able to find and do anything that we need. And that's the issue, is sort of creating this place for this thing to live, and how and who can we spread this message to in any way. And I'm not saying you got to go and start preaching this, oh, be positive, be all this, because no, I don't even do that shit. But what I do is I shift things for myself. And if people notice, because the right people do notice, but if people notice, then they can apply those things to their life. And that's where the magic happens. It's not about the preach. It's about the self-change. It's about what you do, and how what you do and what you do to yourself will affect every single person around you in some way, shape, or form. There's no doubt about it, because I've seen it. I've seen it in the past week. I've seen it even before that. I've felt it. I know what it is. So create that. Do your best to create it, because it's the most important thing that we can do. You know what? No, hold on. It's not the most important thing, but I would 100% say it is one of the most important things that you can do, is harbor that, because we need it. As people, as humans, we need to create this space, because everything is very dark in the grand scheme, the way we look at it, where we live, the shit that we're dealing with globally. It's a lot, and it's really heavy. And then on top of that, you come down another step, and it's your world, right? Because we all have our worlds that we live in, and sometimes it can be really dark. Like myself, right now, my world is a trip. And as you guys know, because you've been around for the journey, especially as of late, dude, I have these moments that are just like, it'll be like blue skies, gray, and then it'll just be gray, blue sky, gray. And I'm trying to find a way to shift my world to clear up the weather a little bit, because that's all that I can handle. That's all I can deal with on a day-to-day basis, is my life. I can't take on everything else. That's why I don't watch the news. I don't fuck with shit. And I mean, I do to a certain extent, maybe just to kind of get a little bit, but I don't sit in it. It's not something I can do, because it's not for me. It doesn't add anything to my day. It doesn't help me be a better person. And I have to do that, right? I have to filter what's in front of me. And if what's in front of me is positive, I'm going to feel good. But if all I'm doing is putting all this shit in front of my vision that's negative, oh, so-and-so, there's a fucking dude who over here killed 5 people. Oh, shit, what the fuck? Oh, there's this fucking happened. This robbery over here, and this person got mugged and whatever. This person was assaulted. Oh, this person's arrested for sexual assault. Like, I don't need it. I don't need it. It's not necessarily turning a blind eye, but to a certain extent, it kind of is, because I have to protect myself, my energy, my love, my everything that's in my house. If I let that type of shit inside, it has a place to live. And I can't allow things like that to live in my house. I can't. It's not a thing. I won't allow it now, won't allow it later. And you not accepting that type of shit now will help you later. That I can promise you, because I felt it, I've seen it. And the more work that I do on myself, the further I deep dive into therapy, I realize that. And I'm like, yo, this is super helpful. Super, super helpful. And the more that I talk about it, especially like with you guys, it hits somebody. It'll hit one person and they're like, damn, I got to shift up how I think. Damn, I got to shift up this. Or, oh, I never thought about it that way. And that's where it's at. That's where it's all at. So that's that's what's been on my mind. That's what's been on my heart, especially from the last week, yesterday, today. So I needed to share it. And that's why this episode is kind of this like overarching theme of shifting your mindset. And I'm glad that it went this way. I'm glad that we were able to talk about it, and that you guys, again, listen and support and give me the love, because you're creating the space for me too, without you guys even knowing it. Because if without you guys, I'm just sitting here talking to a camera. No one listens, no one watches. And it's not like I do it for that. I don't do it for likes. I don't do it for all this bullshit, because I could care less about it. I honestly could give a shit about it. It doesn't fucking matter. But this is something important to me. And I know for some of you, it's also important to you too. And now this is a part of your week. And I'm very honored and thankful to be a part of that process, and that you guys allow me into your lives. You're opening your houses to me, and you let me in because of what I have to say. And it's giving you something. It's helping you decorate a certain way. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and send you guys nothing but love and light, because that's what I want to give. That's all I want to give right now. That's all I have the space to give is just love and light, because anything else is not going to help you guys. It's not going to help me. It's not going to help you. So in that case, why the fuck am I going to do it? Right? Because it's a part of what I was just talking about that being the most important task, is fostering that joy and that hope and that love and spreading that in some way. And what I want to leave you guys with, I guess, like that, because as you guys know, like we've been doing the past couple of weeks, I try and leave with some sort of wisdom. And I think it's to value yourself, value your time, and put your love everywhere that you can. Plant the seeds all over the place, everywhere. Tell the people that you love them. Hug them super tight. Make them feel appreciated, because you never know what that person's dealing with. You're in the street, spread that love, spread that positivity. It doesn't hurt to say hello to somebody that's walking by you that looks at you. Hey, how's it going? Hey, have a nice day. To smile at people. Be that beacon of light. Be that beacon of positivity. Because all of that shit, you guys, every single part of that, all of that energy comes back to you in some way, shape, or form. Because if you're out here being a dick, it's only a matter of time before some shit slaps you in the face. And then you're like, God damn, dude, like I've been an asshole this whole time. I need to fucking chill. Because life will humble you real quick. Real quick. I've seen it with people around me, people in my family, shit like right now. Shit I'm seeing right now. Like I'm seeing it. Like, damn, dude, karma's, or whatever you want to call it. Something's coming for you, man. Something's coming for you, because this is crazy. The way you've been acting is real out of pocket, and I don't like that shit, and neither does the universe. So don't do that. Be the flip side of that. Be the beacon of light. Spread love, spread positivity. Give those around you hugs. Tell them you love them. And talk about this. Talk about this shit. Get their spirits up. Put people where you want them to be. Help them to get there. Hold their hand. Be the shoulder for them to hold on to as you guys are walking up these steps together. Because everybody in your life, you're all going somewhere. And you all want to move in that positive direction. You never want somebody to hang back. If they start to hang back, go fucking grab them. Hey, what's good? Let's talk about it. Let me get you here because I want you next to me. So take this and run with it. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know I did. It's fucking great. I love sitting here talking with you guys. And hopefully for the next one, I'm not 100% sure. As you guys know, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about next week. It could be potatoes. It could be cars. I don't really know. We don't really know yet. But thank you for giving me your time, your love, your energy today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this project. I will always thank you guys. I had a friend of mine was telling me, dude, you always tell us like, thank you and that you love us, because I do. And it's important for me to share that. And that's the thing. That homie, out of everything that I talk about, granted, we talk about a lot, but this one person that brought it up, I said, that's what stuck with you. That's what stuck with you. That you were sitting there and you're like, man, this fool always fucking says this. But look at now it's ingrained in your fucking head. That I'm gonna tell you some sort of positive, tell you like love, light, something, and you take that, and it's shifted the way you think about it because you already know you're gonna get your dose of love and light at some point in the week, and it's probably gonna be on a Wednesday or Thursday that you're gonna get a little bit of it, just a little bit of, you know what I'm saying, a little sprinkle of that shit because you need it, and that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to be a beacon. I'm trying to shift up my life, and shifting up my life can help you guys. Then it's beautiful. That's what we're here for. We're here for the ride. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 13. And I will definitely see you on the next one.